10 months in, and our account does not look like a beginner's. We now need to change some things up that we've made it to maximum level 105. So as you can see from the time of this recording, we have been playing the game for 291 days. So again, a couple more days, we'll be into month 10 of our new player account. However, we did achieve this. We did achieve this probably about 10 days ago. We're just now getting the opportunity to talk about it, but we have made it to max level, my friends. We have made it to level 105. So as we can clearly see there in the upper left-hand corner, we have level 105. So what does that actually mean for our account? So it means we're going to be changing the way that we approach the game. For example, if we look at our energy right here, right? Refreshing our energy nodes using our power cores, those 50-50-50s to get us more campaign energy, more ISO 8 energy. We were all about that because we had to get experience points. But now the experience points don't matter because we're at max level. We're only going to do that under the following circumstances. So if we look at, again, our dailies right here, we do have our strike for campaign energy and for ISO 8 energy. And those things go into the strike pass. We want to make sure that we're maxing out our strike pass because that's how we're going to get some items. So as long as we're able to do that, as long as we are contributing to that, then we're going to want to refresh that energy still, but just enough to make sure we get those campaign things done. So just enough to make sure we get these 600 energy for the energy campaign for the standard energy campaign, and this 400 for the ISO 8 campaign. So just enough to make sure we do that. Otherwise we're just going to hold on to the rest. So if we're not using that energy, what we're going to do is just start storing it up. So as we see here, we still have some 50s available for our ISO 8. So we're going to go ahead and use those 50s again. We're just storing that up to have that in place to make sure we're able to finish out that milestone. And when that happens, we're just going to keep the rest and let this slowly accumulate. So a lot of people would say that right now we should be working on building Professor X. I believe that to be a mistake. In order to get him, we have to reach backwards and build up a bunch of older teams. We simply don't have the resources to do that. So we'll just refresh our memory here and look at the Exavir saga. We could go into the Nimrod portion and gear tier 17, 18, and 19, it looks like just for anybody, right? Anybody can meet those criteria. That's fine. If we have characters that are able to do that, we can go ahead and punch through those sections right there and get the appropriate rewards. However, as we move over here into the gladiator section, we need people at gear tier 19, 20, and those individuals have to be of the city variety. So that with the best city team right now, maybe it's the Insidious 6. I think the nodes were made for the Vigilante team. So to go back and build up, again, a whole grouping of characters is going to take away from our ability to build up newer characters. And we, generally speaking, don't have the resource to do that. We only have enough to go back and build 1 or 2 characters every patch. And right now the new mutants are coming on the scene. So we want to make sure that we have what we need. The game is going to give us what we need to build these characters right here over the course of this month. If I start going backwards, then I might not be able to finish these individuals. The game is going to give us what we need to build the appropriate teams, to build the teams that are upcoming. And the team that is upcoming is the new mutant. So we're going to get gear and stuff right over the next couple of weeks that's going to help us out to build up these new mutant characters. If we were to use this gear on other characters or use what we have stored up on older characters, right? If we can only build 5, let's say in a month, Big Positive Geek showed that last month we really were only able to build the 5 that they gave us. So if we're going to take away and deviate and go in a different direction, that's going to stop us on our forward progression. The newest teams are generally the strongest, and that's where we want to be putting our power. That's where we want to put our focus. Characters are strong. Professor X is remarkable. He's very, very strong, but it might cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 20 other characters in order to unlock Professor X. So that, again, that's the equivalent of 2 to 4 of the newer teams. Is he by himself strong enough to replace 2 to 4 other teams that are going to be spanning a multiple of game modes? That's generally not the case. So in my opinion, we don't reach backwards. We want to look forwards. So as we're looking forwards to the next team, what should I be looking for? Well, you see here, we have our first gear 20 character on this account, and that is Thunderstrike. He's a legendary character. I know he's not the strongest, but if we need to go back and build something, if we need to go back and build anything, in my opinion, it should be these legendary characters that came out with this patch. So it would be Quasar it would be Blastar, and it would be Thunderstrike, because in the future, they are going to work in some way with Annihilus, right? So we want to build for the future. And just by building those new teams again as they come out, just by building them, getting them to gear tier 20, if they give us the opportunity to go back and unlock Professor X just because we were building the newer teams, then we want to do that. And as you see, the game again has given us these 3 legendary characters over the course of the Age of Annihilus. So when it comes again to Dark Dimension, so maybe I have an opportunity to get Odin, but that won't be till later on because I need legendary characters that are, I shouldn't say strong enough to do it. These guys are the strongest, so they should be strong enough to do it. But I would have to dip back into our stash of legendary characters to find somebody appropriate to use. That in itself might not be too much of a problem. So again, we already know who we need to work on: Thunderstrike, Blastar, and Quasar. So I need 2 more legendary characters, perhaps the Phoenix, right? Because she's going to be she's obviously used in the Phoenix Force team in the future. The next Phoenix Force, Dark Phoenix Force character coming out is going to be Magneto. So especially when he comes on the scene, it would be reasonable then for me to invest in this character so that, right, things work out. So the team actually works. I do have Omega Red as well. So again, the team will actually work if I have all the pieces. So she seems like a reasonable investment. And at this time, beyond that, I don't know if there's another character that's worth going back and investing in. Perhaps Old Man Logan. But again, every time we do this, we're going backwards and putting power into a character that, right, is going to cost us forward progression. So if there is an opportunity for 1 or 2 characters a month, then for me, for this account, what makes sense right now would be the Phoenix and Old Man Logan. But again, I want to refer you to Big Positive Geek. He keeps very, very good track of the economy, and you would need to know what month, right? What month happens that, hey, you have an extra character that you can bring up, or you have 2 extra characters that you can bring up. And that would be a signal to go back and build up one of these characters. Because you want to make sure if you're going to do that, right, it's going to cost you. So you want to make sure if you're going to do that, it's worth the payoff. So to go back and build for me, perhaps 2 legendary characters in order to unlock other characters like Odin, that would make sense. But again, we need to keep in mind that this is also a character, right? And he needs investment. So unlocking more characters, even if it's him, even if it is Professor X, again, that's putting resources in a sense, still older characters. It costs resources, it costs time, it costs materials, and that will stop you from building the newer characters. So if we're going to be stunting our growth slightly in that way, we need to make sure it's worth it, and we need to make sure it's for top tier and strong characters that are going to affect our roster. The other thing I wanted to bring out about Thunderstrike was, once again, he is the first gear tier 20 character that we have. So from now on, we're going to attempt to try to bring all the characters up to gear tier 20. We're not going to be reaching super far back. We're just going to kind of go with the characters as they come and see if we can get them to gear tier 20 at this time, because that's, again, something that's going to give us the most bang for our buck. Here we have our Immortal Weapon characters. So I'm kind of debating, do I try to get them to gear tier 20 as well as the New Mutants? And maybe so I'll work on that. So these are all Mystic characters, so I can look out for Mystic gear tier 20 pieces, as well as I should be hunting Mutant gear tier 20 pieces. It would also require that I bring them up to level 105, so I'm probably not going to do that. We'll probably just focus on the New Mutants from here on out. Regarding the New Mutants, I'm curious to know what yours look like. Here's my Sunspot here. He's at 7 red stars, and right, he's at gear tier 18 here. I'm trying to remember if I powered him up like that, or did we get tokens along the way earlier this year? Obviously, I don't remember, right? It's been almost a year. I don't remember, but he seems to be in good shape, and I don't really see why I would have invested in him unless it was for the Extreme X-Men team. As you see, we got Magic. She probably needs work. Again, I'm always uncomfortable dealing with supernatural characters, and she really kind of digs into that demonic aspect. So I'm not sure if I'm going to skip out on one of them. It's probably going to be her. However, we do want to keep in mind right here at Villains 5-3, you can farm her character shards if you need to get her up for the new team. And don't forget, in the character store, we can see Magic and Sunspot. They're already there, right? They're in the Age of Annihilus portion of the character store. So make sure that you are powering those characters up if you need them to get them ready for the new team. So just by way of reminder, to conclude what we talked about: 1, we're not going to be refreshing our campaign energy anymore unless we need to use it to make sure we get those milestones checked off so that we're able to complete our strike pass. If we complete our strike pass early, then again, we're just going to kind of let those couple days go by. We'll just save our power cores with that and not use them. We also want to make sure that we're now gunning for maximum gear. So we want to be at gear tier 20, whatever possible. And we're targeting, again, the strongest characters that we can get our hands on, which is going to be, for example, Thunderstrike. Maybe we'll be getting a hold of the Sentry at some point, maybe Blue Marvel at some point. Those are the characters we really want to prioritize with our gear tier 20 gear. Otherwise, we're going to be looking out for the newest team. In this case, we're talking about the New Mutants. So I need to start making sure that I grab mutant gear out of the store every time that I see it. Right, gear tier 20. I want to clarify that gear tier 20 mutant gear as I see it, as I'm making my way, as it pops up in the stores. And by moving forwards like that, what we're just going to help happen naturally is we get the characters and things that we need to get through the Professor X trials. So we have some city characters here that we're going to need at some point. We have some global characters we need at some point. We know as we get into Professor X himself, we start dealing with cosmic villains, cosmic heroes, and we're going to have to target Lilandra at some point, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Otherwise, we'll just continue to build as we go and make sure that, again, we're investing in the newest characters. That's the way I see it. I would definitely be open for discussion on this topic. It is something that I'm passionate about. I would like to understand what you might be doing, what strategy you have, if you think I'm doing it the right way or you think I should make an adjustment. I really do indeed welcome your comments on that. So please, let's go ahead and get that discussion started in the comments below. And hey, if you got a minute, please take a look at this video right here. It's legit.